I'm Brian Murray, born in Lincoln, live here still. Thank you for these hearings. A year ago, Jeff Rao, spokesman for TransCanada, said they were going to spend $1 billion to sell this Keystone XL pipeline on advertising here in Nebraska. And of course, the other front groups have spent even more. Americans for Prosperity, Tea Party Express, American Petroleum Institute, they've even ran ads calling a proposal to give tax credits for companies converting their trucks to natural gas, which would be cleaner, more plentiful, cheaper, calling that a tax and spend boondoggle, as though any challenge to their monopoly on our land and water and lives is something that they've got to shut down. This ad says the Keystone XL pipeline will be the safest pipeline ever built in Nebraska. Of course, how can this be the case when over a year ago the Michigan Messenger, covering the Enbridge pipeline spill into the Kalamazoo River of 1 million gallons of tar sands crude bitumen mixed with solvents such as benzene, said, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, tar sands oil has vastly more aluminum, copper, nickel, lead, titanium, and vanadium than other forms of oil. Cold Lake crude in particular is also known to have around 3 times as much sulfur as conventional oil, a factor the EPA has warned could lead to pipeline corrosion. Others have warned it can result in increased air pollution. On Omaha right-wing radio station, heard President or Vice President of TransCanada saying that this would be no different from any other oil, an obvious lie, and that a spill would move no more than a foot in 10 years. Someone here earlier said 3 feet in 10 years. I know that if I pour a quart of oil out on some wet, sandy soil, it's going to move more than that. So, not being able to fool anyone that this would be the safest pipeline ever built in Nebraska, they've moved on to claiming that, according to this, which Speaker 100 referred to, would create more than 342,000 American jobs. I suppose they thought an uneven number would be more believable. I suppose no one told the brightly painted tractor-trailer truck out here that claims 13,000 jobs, or the TransCanada president or vice president on the Omaha station who said 1,700 jobs. Now, this is sort of like Senator Joe McCarthy talking about how many communists in the State Department. It's a different number every time. But let's talk about what we're really talking about here. And that is that it's not going to move just a foot or 3 foot in 10 years, that I've heard maybe it could go hundreds of miles, the plume could spread. And it's not that we can't water crops or livestock or ourselves on water that's to some degree more or less contaminated. It's just that cancers and birth defects and organ failures would increase at a greater or lesser degree. And it's just not practical to think that we can continue to burn more and more fossil fuel to meet our energy needs when the geological record shows that when there's more carbon in the atmosphere, it's warmer, and that those sandhills have been sand dunes in the past, and that more storms, weakening of the jet stream along with the weakening of the ocean currents, bringing more floods and droughts, well, that's not going to be very good for our economy here either. And just finally, I know I've been given the thank you, but I'd just like to say that it's the Koch brothers and Koch Industries tar sands that would be taken from the terminal, which is the starting point of this pipeline, and that they are your main enemies. The Obama administration, the unions, they wage war on the unions. I can understand how any pipeline or any jobs, even a few hundred temporary jobs, which was the official State Department analysis, said it would only be, a few hundred jobs, and that most of those would be temporary. And your administration, they wage war on your administration. How can you possibly follow their dictates? Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 130.